The talk today on the show starts with Lions-Packers. It's Friday. We are counting down the days. Sunday is right around the corner. Is it a must-win game for the Lions? John has made the case it is. I have made the case it isn't. Your feedback, 248-539-9797. There's no doubt from a fan standpoint, psyche is going to shift based on how Sunday goes. They win. They tamp down all this Packers noise. They assert their dominance as the best team in the division, and it's everybody else chasing Detroit. If they lose, it's going to rev up the machine. They added Parsons. Why didn't you? We're good at defensive end. Well, are we? Are we getting past in our own division? You know the gauntlet. You know the schedule. Getting started on the wrong foot. All those reasons play into the psyche. Yeah. My point for why it's not a must-win is they've got like 9 other legitimate games to prove themselves.
Sure, it's not terminal.
And yeah, it's not terminal. Their season is just beginning. They're going to be defined by what they do in the postseason, not whether or not they're ready to go week 1 in Lambeau. And if Green Bay wins the game, rides high, Detroit's more than comfortable riding the underdog role and chasing them for the rest of the season. 248-539-9797. And then we threw everybody in the mix. If you want to talk Michigan, Oklahoma, you think that game has a chance to really spin the trajectory of Michigan season, launching pad opportunity for Bryce Underwood in Michigan. All of a sudden, you're ahead of schedule with your freshman quarterback. All of a sudden, the college football playoff doesn't feel like a maybe. It feels like that's where you're headed. And you got to earn it, but it would really shift the tenor of Michigan's football season.
I go to, okay, what's the benefit if all 3 teams win?
Okay.
All right. The Lions. All right. You set the tone. You put a lot of answers to bed. And you start yourself out 1-0 in division. With the schedule that is to come, you put yourself ahead of in the lead and ahead of the race. If Michigan wins, obviously the entire narrative around this team changes. Are they a playoff team? Well, it doesn't mean they're in the playoffs. It does set them on a trajectory to be in the playoffs because you look at their opponents and you say, if they're able to go to Norman and beat Oklahoma, shouldn't they be able to go to USC, Nebraska, anywhere else on the road that they go? And then it's simply looking ahead to
OSU,
Ohio State.
Which, look, they've owned the rivalry lately. Even if they lost that game, they'd still be in the college football playoff.
Then I also look at what's to gain for Michigan State. I think I've already said, I think after last week, what I saw, I think they're going to be an 8-win team. This is one that they need to get to 8 wins. But on the flip side, the negative, if they were all to lose, all right, Michigan going to Norman. Most people are picking them to lose. I don't think that they lose a lot. It's a freshman quarterback. It's an inexperienced offensive line. They were supposed to. For Michigan State, I think that's where the big risk is, especially for Jonathan Smith. If they were to lose, and it's turnovers by Aiden Childs again, well, you're not developing a quarterback. You're not protecting your quarterback. All of the things that we talked about they did well against Western, they're not doing against better opponents. It's Bill O'Brien. Does he have your number?
Yeah.
I think there's more to lose for Michigan State in this, less to gain. For Michigan, there's less to lose and maybe the most to gain.
That's how I would label it.
And for the Lions, it's a long season, and I understand that it's not terminal. But if you lose, you put yourself at risk of going to Baltimore 0-2. And I'm not sitting here, I'm predicting that I don't think anybody's going to predict that they lose to Chicago. But it brings up all of the off-season narratives that we've had to deal with for 5 months. And it just highlights them.
Okay, so if I were to label them all this way, Lions have more to lose, MSU has more to lose, Michigan has more to gain. So it's just how you view these games. Like, Michigan has the most to gain this week, right? If the Lions win, to a lot of people here, yes, we're still back-to-back division champs, and it runs through Detroit. And it's assuring, it's reaffirming, but it's not declarative. Like, we didn't accomplish really anything. If Michigan State wins, they have something to gain in sense of like keeping it on the tracks. Michigan has a chance to launch themselves. So that's why I would say Michigan this weekend.
But on the flip side of that, and I know that it's different for NFL. We know that the Lions can handle success. They were 15-2, and they kept winning along the way, and I don't understand what happened in the playoffs. But for Michigan, if they win this game, can a young quarterback handle the pressure, the success that will continue to build? He's still going to have freshman moments, even if they go to Norman and he performs. It's the game of his life. I still expect, whether it's at USC, it's at Nebraska, or it's against Ohio State, like I still expect freshman moments. And a developing offensive line, even if they play the game of their life, does it mean that they don't still have those moments down the road? The secondary for Michigan, there's still questions. Like I don't know that it answers the questions fully moving forward because of freshman quarterback.
The other way of looking at it, too, is it's just NFL to college. If Michigan loses a game, it's certainly more penalizing than if the Lions lose a game.
Yes, but there's more at risk as well, and I guess I'm feeding your narrative because if you lose that game to Nebraska, to Oklahoma,
are you going to lose to Nebraska and USC too?
Well, even if you beat those teams, you're not beating Oklahoma. And the only game that everybody's going to look at is they'll look at the Michigan State game, but that's more locally.
Yeah.
Are you going to then have to wait to the end of the season before you can actually change that narrative?
Look, all the games are on the table for you guys to call in and talk about. What's the biggest game? And then the Lions won. The question is, it is a must-win. Do you view it that way? Let's get to Adam in Frankenmuth. Adam, good morning.
Hey, fellas, umpire Adam here, Big John. Hey, man, I take a look, and I agree with you. You know, I think all the games are pretty much must-wins for all three. I think Michigan, with the national narrative and everything that's happened in the offseason, I think that's the biggest game. If Michigan goes out and beats up Oklahoma at Oklahoma, which I think we possibly can do, I don't believe in Oklahoma's offensive line. I think we're gonna tear them up defensively. We put a couple scores on the board. I think it's gonna be a low-scoring game, but I think Michigan, like I said, I think that's the biggest game. The Lions going to Green Bay. You know, Green Bay's always been a tough place to play. Always, if you take a look at it.
Oh, the history is well documented.
Yeah, I mean, for the last few times we've tore them up, and it looks good. But I think the Lions come out, we perform well. That's something that I think that'll propel us going forward. It's a big game. The Michigan State game, to be honest, I really don't care. I hope they get beat by 106, but that's just me. But besides that, man, like I said, I think the Michigan game is going to be a huge game with the national implications. Like you said, I mean, we don't really have a tough schedule. We beat Oklahoma. There's a good chance we could go into the Ohio State game undefeated. But I appreciate you guys. Love you, man. Football season. Sun went out and beat Standish last night, 50-6.
All right.
So it was good, man. So I love you guys. Love listening to you. You guys have a great day and enjoy that football.
Hey,
congratulations
Adam.
on the win. Umpire Adam.
Full swing.
Mm-hmm.
Friday night into Saturday into Sunday. Everybody's back this week with the NFL taking center stage. All right, let's get to Todd's call. Todd, you're on 97.1.
Hey, guys. I think it's the Lions-Packers, and I live in the UP, so, of course, up here it's
you're fighting it every day.
And, the Lions are contending for a Super Bowl where Michigan, I know they're hopefully have a great season, but they're not contending for a national title. So getting a leg up on your division, that's huge.
Right, but I would say, like, the Lions can't win the Super Bowl this week. Michigan's going to be judged not by the national title this season, but by making the playoff, and this would be a major domino, because in college, perception matters a lot more than in the NFL. NFL, who cares if they doubt you, just go win.
It's a numbers game in the NFL.
And in college, it's more your feelings. Like, do I feel Michigan's going to be one of the last teams in? Well, this is a big feelings shift if you go in and beat Oklahoma.
It is, and then losing to it, I mean, you don't have another one of these, quote-unquote, feelings games until you get to the end of the season, because we have no idea how good or bad USC is. Nebraska, I know we don't really have an idea. We did see them. I didn't see what I thought I would see from Nebraska. So going there where Michigan has won recently, I don't know that you gain a whole lot. Now you gain wins, and you got to stack win on top of win on top of win. And how you do it, to your point, how you go to the LA Coliseum, if you put it on USC, then you get some more feelings. If you do that at Nebraska, I just don't know. You're not going to get feelings by beating Wisconsin, Purdue, Northwestern. Now Washington, I I would flip Washington and Nebraska.
Okay.
Because of what I saw early on, I think Washington is a much better team than they've been given credit for in the preseason polls.
You could sell me on it. A few ticket texters on the Lions. Text says, it's a must-win, but I don't believe they will win. I also believe it sets the tone for the first 7 games of the season. They could start as ugly as 2-5 or even 1-6 before finishing 8-9. Text says it's a must-win for the Lions because they don't face the Packers again until Thanksgiving, and if Parsons is healthy, that's a completely different game.
It does change some of the facts of the game.
Guys, it's week 1. No such thing as a must-win game in week 1. The game is borderline meaningless.
Okay, borderline meaningless. Okay, when you get to the end of the season and you're sitting there fighting to get to 11-6 or 10-7, tell me week 1 is meaningless.
You're right. Jim, I think you nailed it. It's definitely not a must-win, but with the psyche, it could feel that way. All the doubts, the new coordinators, the interior, the edge, go out and win, and it goes away for now. Lose, and it's all the calls you're going to get on Monday. We know how this town is.
Maybe that's how I'm looking at it. Just, in my psyche, it's I don't want to do the Monday show after a opening season loss to the Packers. And we're going to have to hear every single thing, and it will all be magnified from what happened or didn't happen this offseason.
Barring some 45-10 loss, I'm going to make you a pledge and the audience a pledge. I'm not going to freak out if they lose this game. I don't know if the rest of the city will take that pledge. I think you've done radio and I've done radio long enough to know what kind of calls we're going to get on Monday. But I would hope you don't freak out in week 1 of a season that's judged on the postseason. A season where you're going to have another 10 of these games where you can show you're legit. You shouldn't freak out if you lose this game. You want to win it. You're going to go in there looking to win it. You're the best team in the division. Go act like it. But you don't lose the division in week 1 if you lose to Green Bay. Can't wait to see what those phone calls are like. We've got the cookie jar coming up at the bottom of the hour, 9:35. It's 97.1.